Hello and welcome to ULPLM.
Universal Light, Pure Love Ministries.
I'm Aaron Fowler.
I'm Holistic Mystic Norma.
And tonight we have a very special guest, TruthSeekah, also known as Derek. What's your last name? Gross. How do you spell your last name?
You know what? I never introduced my last name. Like, what? Say it again.
Grosskurth?
One more time. My name's Derek. It's Grosskurth. Grosskurth.
Yeah, okay.
It's German, yeah.
Well, it's just, the man behind the myth, right?
The profile.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me on.
How you doing tonight?
Doing good, man. Just got out of our School of the Mystics class. We have the whole community side to my podcast and our supporters and stuff. We do every Thursday. We do like one-on-one session where we build and kind of practice prophesying, practice psychic reading in a safe environment. People have the intuition and the vision and things like that. So we get in a safe community, do like a little teaching together, and then practice it in a safe environment, man. That's the best way to grow. So just got done doing that. So still amped up from that with all my people over there. So good stuff. Yeah,
you answered the question we were going to ask you. So that's awesome.
Yeah, about
mystics. So what thought, I know what brought that on? Just kind of an urge to want to learn and get better at it, or?
Well, yeah, because I've been doing the podcast for so long, and there's like an organic community that forms behind that, and there's supporters, and there's people who are disenfranchised, and there's people who are out there by themselves, but they're connected through the podcast. They feel like they're alone in this awakening. I mean, I've been there. I'm sure we all have. So we look for teachers. We look for people who are speaking our language, and it's just like, they feel like. A lot of people feel like the podcast is their church service or their meeting, their congregation and stuff, and they mingle one with another in the chats while we're live. I mean, this is probably happening right now, but just something a little bit more, something extra, so that we can like grow together in teaching and just practical teachings and creating a safe environment to learn together. And so It's just try to instill something within them and give them a safe place. So it's taking advantage of this technology and creating like an online school, which we're doing. And so it's been beautiful. I mean, that's where I come from, on a physical place of learning to prophesy and lay hands on each other and being able to feel what the spirit would say to that person, be able to feel attachments on them. And in the physical realm, this is my background. That's where we come from. So doing it online with a group of people has been beautiful and been awesome. And seeing people do it for the first time is crazy.
Yeah, open up for that. Yeah, we've done we do some like astral projection and like some things like that, and kind of travel different dimensions together. And that group, when you get a group together, there's nothing more powerful, man. I mean, I pick up so much more when I'm working with a group. That they see things that maybe I didn't when we have a specific target. So we do a lot of remote viewing. It's rare. Yeah, it gets intense, man. So I could understand. I can agree with you on that one. Cause,
I mean, growth. We talk about the spirit. Yeah. We talk about the kingdom, man, and it's about growth. Like spirituality is growing, is expanding, and moving, and thriving in everything that we do. So we're gonna grow. We're gonna expand, and people are growing with us and growing together. So. It's beautiful what we've been able to do there, and just showing up with other people. And the people who show up, they want it. You're not coaxing anybody to be there. You're not twisting their arm. They don't get cool points for showing up like you would at church or something. Hey, I showed up. Like, they show up because they want it, man, because they're hungry. Right. So it's good stuff.
Did you want to say something?
I was just, I also enjoy and find the beauty in that organic growth.
Where are you from?
I'm in Mobile, Alabama, originally from New Orleans.
Okay.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. So that's where the musician came out right there, right?
Rapper.
Rapper.
I played some bands and stuff like that my whole life, too, yeah.
Yeah. So it's, so you grew up, from what I watched a few of your shows and I'm loving them. So you grew up in a religious family?
No. I mean,
no?
Not really. I mean, coming from New Orleans, like, the whole voodoo thing is legit. Like it's, it's normal for like your grandmother to say, "Hey, I need help paying bills. I'm finna burn these candles." call up your girlfriend, the girlfriend on the phone. Hey, I need some green and blue candles. You got them? I'll get you, girl. And they like, it was normal for people to burn candles, and it wasn't like, taboo. And so coming from just little stuff like that, and from the little pieces of a cult in the background, and then I have Native American ancestry and stuff as well. So a lot of that stuff was in me from birth. You know what I'm saying? So I was really infatuated with that stuff from a young age, of seeing, like, having experiences with the shadow beings, waking up and having those entities on you, or something in your room in the middle of the night. Like when I was a toddler, like remembering 4 years old, waking up and stuff going on, and when you're dreaming and you wake up and there's stuff in your room, man. So that at a young age put something within me to know that, look, something's going on, man. There's another realm. And then, I was 4, 5, 6. You grow up, you become a teenager, you start to revisit that stuff. You at parties or hangouts or whatever. Say, hey, have you guys ever had anything come in your room at night? And then you start hearing people say, yeah, I've had that. The man with the top hat standing in my doorway. I heard that stuff when I was a kid. I didn't think much of it. But then you start looking into it and you start seeing that stuff's real. So I got into the occult real deep, and I was really a misguided teen into drugs and gangbanging and robbing people and stuff like that, mixed with the occult. So I got into all of this, contacting entities, but I'm robbing people, I'm stealing, I'm doing drugs, and it was a bad concoction, man. As a teenager, got in over my head. I was possessed, man. I opened up myself to become demonically possessed, honestly. And I needed freedom. I needed God. And I had been in church a few years before that and felt the presence of God in prayer meetings and stuff, and felt this bliss. So being in a place where I was, like, honestly possessed by demons, having them talk to me, pull me in and out of trances midday that I couldn't control it, couldn't breathe. They're speaking to me in foreign languages at the same time. I don't know what's going on. Cried out to God, got in the phone book, called all these churches. One church came, and I told them I felt like I was demonly possessed. I needed somebody to talk to. One church came, pastor, and prayed with us, brought us to church. This was in September of 2000, and brought us to church. We started going to Bible studies and stuff from there. I went in, threw everything away, all my idols, my posters, T-shirts, everything that we had that had to do with the occult. Threw it away, got in the church, September 7th, 2000. Did the church thing for many years till really just started getting deeper and deeper, like learning the Bible and stuff. And then being a student of the word, like there's some interesting things in the Bible through fasting and through prayer and having angelic contact and stuff like that, like the prophets and disciples, spiritual gifts, laying on of hands and healing, heavenly visitations. All of this stuff started to happen, man. And I started to talk about it openly. And most of Christendom, they demonize a lot of it. It has to be worded just right, like biblical phrases and stuff. And in my studies and my experiences, man, I started having like UFO contact and stuff, of just fasting and going stargazing and talking to my father and saying, look, is any angels out there that are watching over us? Can I see one? You start seeing all these UFOs and stuff, man. I started putting it in my music, started talking about it. I was a Christian minister at the time, doing Christian hip hop, traveling to churches, telling them about my demonic possession. I would tell my story and stuff, and they loved me. They knew who I was. And so getting into that kind of stuff, I was kind of working my way out of the organized evangelical Christianity, because I'm talking about meditating, I'm talking about the third eye, I'm talking about activation, chakras, all of this stuff. That a lot of it's in the Bible, which is the thing that I bring to the table, So that was in like 2012. To make a long story short, was in like 2012. And then so that transition of coming out of evangelical Christianity to just becoming a mystic, a Christian mystic, if you will. I still have my beliefs and stuff like that, my foundation, but it's all built upon that, man. And so from 2012 till now, it's been a journey, man, but it's a beautiful place of what I've been building and where I'm at now. So that's my journey in a nutshell. Yeah,
I noticed you're able to kind of go through the quotes or passages from the Bible, and kind of decode it, or basically kind of interpret it for people, and I love that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's big, man. And I'm not alone. I mean, I'm not the only one. You guys aren't the only ones. There's a reason that the work we're doing is thriving. We're not just existing. We're thriving right now. It's because we're being vocal about our experiences, and we're not ashamed or holding anything back, which I come out of religion that you couldn't be yourself. You had to be someone else. You couldn't say that I believe in Jesus and aliens. And it's funny, people come on my podcast and they say, hey, I love the TruthSeekah podcast because it's the only place I can talk about Jesus and aliens in the same breath and not be condemned or something. So there's people all over waking up, man, having these encounters, and we're being successful because we're not holding back. Like, I was told not to talk about this stuff. Don't talk about psilocybin mushrooms. And you have a job, you have a career. If your boss finds out, you're done. You know, if the pastor finds out, you're done. And so when all my friends would tell me not to talk about it and they were too scared, even though those experiences changed their life, I had to speak out, man, because it changed my life. Like, this is my truth. And I found out in doing that, just being vocal about my truth and what's helping me, man, it's in turn helping thousands of people, man. And it's so beautiful. Yeah.
And people don't understand that. A lot of people that I talk to that are just starting to do the live streams or the podcasts, and they don't understand, they're like, I only got this many views on this. And I do it sometimes too.
Yeah.
And they don't understand that goes viral, or other people are seeing that you're not even aware that are seeing it, and it share, like all the videos I've done on Facebook, they're still on there. You can go see them, and people do go in there and look at the old ones. It is like we were talking about before we went live. It's about staying consistent and continuing to be yourself and share your wisdom that you've learned throughout your life. And that's kind of what I'm doing. I think our story sounds different, yet, very similar.
Right.
I grew up in a state where it's Mormonism, right? And a lot of the stuff they say it makes a lot of sense. But I grew up in more of kind of a Catholic and a Mormon family. So I always had that Christian I was always grown up with Christian values, right? Not that we really went to church much, but my grandmother was also into the esoteric. She was an astrologer. And that's kind of how I came about. It sounds like you've been awake about as long as I have, as far as, in your life. You woke up, you were very aware.
Yeah, definitely, man. We're not alone, bro. You know what I'm saying? And it's just, there's just power in that. And it's practical. Like, it's not nothing special or he's doing this. We talked about at the beginning, being consistent. Keep showing up. You got something good that's going. Keep doing it. For many of us who are very creative, and you guys are over a lot of different channels, and I am too. It's easy to get caught up or get sidetracked. Hey, let's do this for a couple weeks. Let's do this for a day. And what you're building, your first love, is gone because there's so much creativity and thought process and things we're taking in and good ideas. It's hard for us just to stay consistent in what's working and what we know the first calling was, right? Really, but I found that's my story, that's my message, and it's working. Can be consistent. Like, hard work pays off. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. I have people say, man, like, I have people come at me like, oh, I wish I could do what you're doing. You get to talk to beautiful women all day and sit at home and stuff. It's like, that's what you want. You could do it.
That's right.
Build it.
Yes.
It can happen. You can build whatever you want.
The beauty of technology enables us to all have our own thing. We can create our own things now a lot easier than we could, 20, 30 years ago. And it's beautiful. I love watching everybody coming on. There's so many different personalities, different styles that I can see. And yours, I mean, I heard your name. So your name's definitely out there. That's for sure. So I heard your name
for some time as well, man. So I
didn't even know that, man.
I know, I've sent you a friend request like a year ago and sent you messages, and you didn't respond. I'm sure you didn't see it, but I definitely reached out to you.
I'm sorry. I missed some too, and I'm sorry about that. But I'm glad we connected finally.
Yes.
Because we have I feel like kindred spirits.
Heck yeah, definitely.
So let's see here. Do you want to ask him another question, honey?
Well, what brought you to like doing it the way you're doing it, through like live streaming? What made you choose online?
Yeah, definitely. Well, starting out, like, I was a truck driver for 10, 11, 12 years through different companies, but I would have long days driving a truck, and we would have three-way conversations that would turn into four-way to 7 people connected on 3-way, having conversations for 4 hours. I got to pass the time because I got a 17-hour day ahead of me, and we stay on the line all day. And at the end of the conversation, we're like, man, I wish we recorded this. Like there's so much wisdom in just us fellowship and being, being organic with our talk that people could benefit from it. And this was in 2010, and I found Blog Talk Radio and when it was free. And so, you know what, let's try this. Let's do what we're doing, but bring everybody on and have Bible studies and bring in different concepts of spirituality, address certain issues. And so I started back in 2010 with that. Is we didn't call it podcast, and we called it we had our own radio show. And then everybody took off trying to do it. Like every time you notice, like you're a trendsetter, you do something, then everybody says it's working. That's cool. And then everybody starts a radio show, or everybody does this, and everybody's that, and everybody's a teacher, and everybody's a guru, whatever. Anyway, I did that in 2010, off and on. It was always off and on because I wasn't consistent. I had my hand in so many things and trying to find something to work. I was like, what you was talking about earlier, I would do shows and we would get just a few people listening, but consistency into where we're at now. And it's a good reason I didn't blow up back then. I would have threw a lot of people off and said a lot of mean things and hurtful things. I was still into coming out of the Christianity that was really debate driven, legalistic, trying to prove people wrong and stuff. I come out of that. So everything has its season. Everything happens for a reason. So, but, even with the music, like we've done like the local band thing, like going out promoting, throwing house shows, house parties to have concerts. And that's good. But with the music, I was always doing the gospel stuff. I would get picked to come out to a church and they would hire me, and I would show up and there's 300 kids there. I just show up and I've got a huge crowd. So when I quit doing gospel, it turned into like, okay, you have to like really go out there and put in the work. I had people like, hey, you got to come work the open mics. We got an open mic for you at 10 o'clock on a Tuesday. It was like, what? I got to be up at 2. I got to be up at 2 to go to work. Yeah. I was like, that's not going to work, man. So instead of going out in the streets, handing out flyers, handing out mixtapes and all that stuff with my music and stuff, it's like I just took advantage of the internet. The world is at your fingertips. Like literally the World Wide Web, whoever, like everybody's here. So I've mastered that. Like everything that I've built has been through networking, through building with other people and sharing it out like that. So with the podcasting and with the music and everything, I've just seen the power of the internet, and just been consistent with that.
Yeah. That's similar to why we, I started and we started is, it's like, I can go play a bar full of 100 people.
And I can call 20.
I can get online and I can talk to thousands, and I don't have to pay a promoter and I don't have to worry about selling seats, right? Or selling tickets. And it's so much easier. And they should have never let all of us artists get a hold of this, because now they're in trouble.
And the beautiful thing about what we're doing now versus like what I was doing with the religion, like I had to win the conversation. I had to convert you. I had to get you to believe my doctrine and my belief systems and things like that. Now you just show up. Whatever your truth is, I'm not into debating anymore. I'm just into declaring my truth and what's working for me. It's my reality. If you believe it or not, it is what it is. And with the search engines, with Google, with YouTube, and just putting it out there, the people who are meant to find it, they're going to find it. You're sharing organically right now. Everybody's sharing this out. Their friends and their friends and their friends. If you're led to watch this, you're watching it for a reason. And if you're led to watch two long-haired hippie guys talk about spirituality, there's something that drew you here, Right. So you don't have to like proselytize or say, hey, watch my show. It's like, look, if you want it, it's here. This is what we're doing. We're bringing this to the table. And the people who are supposed to find it, they find it.
Yep. And the person putting on the show, like us, you'd be okay. Be grateful for the one person that shows up, be grateful that you're just live. I mean, really, that you're able to kind of broadcast live. Yeah. I mean, I am. I always just kind of stick to that. I try to keep it as simple as possible because there's so many complexities to it.
Right.
So keeping it more simple and just getting on and just speaking your mind, talking about what's on your mind, or setting something up and planning to have, a conversation. Because I love having conversations like this.
Oh, yes.
I don't like, it's not as much debating. It's more, for me, it's talking, speaking philosophy to each other and learning from each other.
Right.
Learning what's working. Like, that's my whole thing with my podcast is like, I want to know what's working. What is helping you keep it together? If we watch the news, we look out the window, like the world's going mad. People are falling apart. How are you staying sane in the midst of that? I don't care what religion, philosophy, whatever it is, what's working and why is it working? And I like to just explore that. And most of the people, it's through spirituality, through the power of love, and through music and things like that. And that's what I like to discuss. What's working, man? What's something that's tangible that I can talk to Aaron, have him on my show, and then he can bless my audience with some jewels and gems, that things that he's had to go through years to learn these lessons, that you can share it in a podcast and say, look, he gave us some wisdom, man. When I'm faced with that same situation, when I'm faced with that temptation, like, I'm going to do what he did, because I'm going to save myself years of heartache or whatever the case is, man. Just learn it. But I think that's alchemy, true spirituality. We're able to learn. The people under us, we don't want them to make the same mistakes that we've made. Right. So we're able to do this on a global level, man, and learning. And it's been beautiful.
Yeah, I totally agree. I love watching the organic growth of music when he was doing music, just of all of it. Watching a person, my children, watching them grow in each phase, and they'd lose a tooth, I'd start crying, not because it's sad and they're growing up, but, it's a milestone. They've just hit it. They've lost their first tooth. Mm-hmm. I love that organic growth of life. However we put it, that creation is just,
really, your name says it all. TruthSeekah. The more truth we seek, and the more truth from others that we seek, the more we're inspired, the more we grow, the more we expand. And that's a beautiful way to put it. When I chose that name for myself, I didn't know that I would grow into it like the way I did. You know what I'm saying? Like, it really come back to bite me on the butt, honestly. But like being appreciative for every level. Yeah. Every level. So now, in the past, like, I was afraid of my past, of the demons, of the darkness that I come out of. I was afraid of that. I didn't want to go back. I wouldn't wish that upon anyone. And there's things to learn from that story. There's things not to do in spirituality and in occultism, and just opening your mind up to any entity and spirit out there. Don't do that. That's not good. So there's things to learn out there. But I'm at the place now, finally, that I'm able to make peace with my demons and thank my Heavenly Father for them. Like, they were my teachers. Like, I went through that to become the person I am today. If I wouldn't have went through that stuff, we wouldn't be having this conversation. There would be so many people still lost out there in the dark that I wouldn't have been able to share my story if I wouldn't have went through that stuff. And I would be naive, self-serving, stubborn, all of these things, man. But I've learned humility, and how to be gentle, how to be meek, and how to really operate in the spirit realm. I'm thankful. So, not rebuking my demons and casting them off of me. I'm learning from my demons, man. And I thank the Most High that he allowed me to go through that stuff now. I wouldn't wish it upon anyone. I wouldn't want to go through it again. But at this point, I'm grateful and I'm thankful that he let me go through that stuff. And I think there's something to that, being able to see your demons and look them straight in the eye and say, you know what? I'm not afraid of you anymore. Yeah. Exactly. That shrinks them. That makes them less. That takes away all that power. You're basically taking back your power. And to do any kind of third eye work or any kind of remote viewing, I feel like to get to a certain point, you're going to get to a certain point where you are going to deal with those fears. You are going to have, like what was it, Luke Skywalker when he went and visited Yoda, and he went into the cave and he saw Darth Vader, and then Darth Vader turned into him. Everybody has that kind of moment. I think that. That really does keep seeking to understand and learn more. You're going to get to these places that you're challenged to really rise above it.
Right.
It's that Star Wars is a perfect analogy on so many levels, but it really is the force, the energy, the Holy Spirit, the Kundalini, whatever you want to call it, Qigong. It's the energy, the light, the pranayama, the life force that animates all living beings. And so there's a path, man. You have to harness it. You have to walk that narrow path. I posted the other day, I believe the narrow path is love, and it's to stay on the straight and narrow and not deviate from the from the left or to the right, but stay in the center, because you can use that same energy for good. There's people, using it for good. There's people using it for bad. Like even in the church realm, there's a lot of bad stuff going on in the churches where they use the Holy Spirit or that same energy, and they use it for power and for fame and renown, but they use it for their own selfish gain. And it goes on in every religion, in every spiritual walk or whatever. So it's about a level of integrity and keeping, what I like to say, your hands clean and your heart pure in every area that we go to from here on out, man. That's the name of the game for me. You know, it's a struggle sometimes. You know, there's people you want to give a piece of your mind. There's all kinds of stuff happens, man. So just to remain, on that highway to holiness, man.
All the time. It's really about maintaining that balance. Doesn't mean once you find it, it's just going to be there.
Right. You're just
that's a constant attainment. You're constantly attaining it. You're being consistent with how you get there. And if that doesn't work anymore, you're seeking out other ways to do it. Right. And that's, it's constantly evolving. And as you evolve, you learn new things and you change. You may have that same essence, but you've grown. You hit, like she said, you hit these milestones because you're willing to push forward and willing to learn more and willing to see more, because we all have third eyes. We all have these intuitive abilities, and we can get really scared of them. There was a time when I threw away all my tarot cards. I was freaked out because I was getting a lot of crazy visions. Yeah. And it was funny. It's like a lot of the crazy visions that I was having in, I think it was 2010 or 11, a lot of them are coming to pass now, but they're a little bit different. It's kind of like having a dream and you get a precognitive dream, but there's a lot of symbolism in there. Yeah. Or it's kind of like reading things out of the Bible, right? There's a lot of lessons in there that you can take, and so it's pretty weird. Like, and because of that experience, and I've remembered it, I understand what it meant, why I needed that at that time. And, at the end I was thinking, oh God, the world's going to end. We're going to, we're all going to die, and yeah, we could, but why don't you just live while you're here? That's what I've gotten to that point where I'm not going to be afraid of that anymore. I'm just going to live. I'm going to enjoy my life.
Yeah, man. It's this weird place. And I don't know if it was similar for you or not, but I have a lot of Christian friends who are like on the fringe of coming out of religion and coming into more of a spiritual path where they're more accepting, more loving of all people versus religion and doctrine and dogma. That's a roller coaster, and it's hard to come out of that. There's a lot of darkness that wants to pull you into I'm right mindset. You know what I'm saying? And we come to a place, which I've been there so many times, of like, you're talking about getting rid of your tarot cards, and getting rid of stuff. Like, you get to a place where maybe you're confused, maybe you're uneasy in your spirit, maybe there's a bunch of unconfessed sin or this bad stuff we're dealing with in our lives, man, that nobody knows about it. We just want freedom. We're willing to do whatever we got to do. So we try to get rid of anything that may seem to be hindering or being an opening door. So we throw away books, man. I've threw away like autographed copies of Manly P. Hall's early first editions, like idols, like pictures, posters, like beautiful paintings, man, that fans and friends have sent me. I've got rid of it all because you want to get to this place where there's no idolatry. You want to make sure that you're a clean vessel. You're like, I don't want to attract any of this stuff to me. So you start throwing stuff away, man. And I've done it. And this is big from people coming out of Christianity. I don't know if it rings with you throwing away your cards, but you try to get rid of anything that's not Christian or not like pure or whatever that you think could cause it. And people throwing away stuff, burning books and all kind of stuff. And I have a lot of friends going through that, and that pendulum, man, of coming out of Christianity. Like they'll get into spirituality. They'll be free for a year, 2, 3, and then they swing back and say, you know what? Spirituality, this ain't it. I got to go back to the church. And I've seen friends they just turn, they throw everything away. They destroy all their friendships. They self-sabotage and things like that. And it's a lot of people coming out of the church who are trying to make that transition, but it's so hard because of what they've been taught, what's been ingrained in them, man.
For so long, their whole lives, it starts. I mean, really, especially if you are born into religious families, it starts from the day you're born. I mean, you may not remember conversations of when you were an infant, but I can almost guarantee there were plenty of times my mom was telling me about God. You know what I mean? Because I was a crier. I was a loud one. I was not easy. So, and it started even long before I can even remember, I'm sure. So, when you start going to church at younger ages, it's already already instilled in there, and then you just get the lessons. And so, it's really difficult to change something that has been, even if you don't recognize exactly where it came from, but been there your whole life.
Even when you think that you've overcome it, you know what I'm saying? That's, I was there. I put my wife through hell going back and forth, you know what I'm saying, with this kind of stuff. And then I see my friends going through it, and see them making progress, and then they just, they self-sabotage and they go back. I hate to quote Marilyn Manson, say, I want to live, I want to love, but it's a long, hard road out of hell. And it really is, like, to really get out of this stuff that, like you said, it's been ingrained in you since you was a kid. It may not be right. It may be, man, we're talking about, childhood wounds and things that our parents have spoken over us that will never amount to nothing, that, nobody loves you, you're stupid. Like, we grow up with these things on us, these word curses spoken against us, man. And if we don't know who we are, we allow people, parents, friends, authority leaders, pastors, to tell us who we are. And we're at the mercy of whatever they say. So self-identity and knowing who you are, and knowing how sovereign, that you're loved and you're powerful, and you have a will and a purpose to be here, and things like that. We have to instill this into people, man, to let them know, and just to prophesy over them. You know what I'm saying? To call them speak to the things that are not as though they were. You know what I'm saying? Being able to talk to somebody who's going through hell, who's going through all types of stuff, man, that we couldn't even fathom, but we see them healed and restored and living in their best life. That person their innocence that's there, we can call that out of them, man. That's the power and authority that we have, and as being spiritual leaders, man, of prophets, of seers, of sages, man, with the wisdom that we have. And it's really powerful, and we're gifted to be able to do that. And hats off to all the healers out there, man, on any level, man, anybody,
Much love to all of you. Yeah. There's a lot of them in here watching.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah.
Let me see if we got any questions. If you guys have any questions for us? Let's see here.
I tried church, just did not sit well with me.
Yeah, let's see. Can you see the questions?
Yeah, they're going fast. Okay. I see those at the top. Yeah.
So Jesus love and not on a cross. Yeah. See, and that's the whole thing is, I was kind of talking to this a little bit earlier about how there's like narratives. And when you walk into a church or you walk into certain classes or whatever, you're going in there with a certain narrative, a certain idea of what you're planning to learn or get or whatever it is. And so, sometimes if you're walking into a narrative that you don't like, it's not going to sit well with you. But, and that goes for anything, taking classes at school, taking, finding sage or healer or shaman or
whatever
feels else,
great, whatever feels good for you, and you feel closer to spirit, and you feel that urge to be better, right? And do better.
Yeah.
Because we all have these things go through our head a lot, all of us.
And we always find them in buildings.
Even the biggest spiritual teachers have these questions. I promise you.
Oh,
yeah. They're human.
They definitely do.
And the thing is, we have a problem sometimes is propping up, others to kind of, they can, they're going to come and they're going to help us. Well, we got to help each other. You got to understand, didn't Jesus say, and I don't know the Bible very well, so get me if I'm quoting this wrong. Didn't Jesus say that power is within you, within all of you?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's really, there's so many lessons you can learn from Jesus' stories.
Oh, man.
That's what they are. They're lessons. They're to teach you.
Model,
don't put your hand on that hot stove. It'll burn you. Really. It's that simple. If you want to, I love the David and Goliath story. I'm like an underdog guy. I love the underdogs. So I love the David and Goliath story. I think, and it's really just learn from that and try to apply that to your life. But you can learn things from the Tao. You can learn things from many religious teachings. And that's, I think we all stay open to that. I think all of us on here are staying open to that and able to learn new things and still have our Christianity or whatever that is we want. That's your foundation. Don't lose that. But don't feel like you're betraying your faith by learning other things. I think, expanding your knowledge on things. And as you learn, the more religious texts you learn a lot of them are very much similar. The same. And there are a lot of similar stories in them.
Yep. I mean, that's the whole thing about it, man. We just try to teach people that, like, you can, there really is, at the end of the day, there is no rule. There is nothing set in stone to say that you can be a Christian or you can be a Christian and not. Like, I've seen comments in the past where people were posted like, I'm going to set the record straight. You can't be a Christian and like astrology. I'm like, want to bet? I'm one. You can't be a Christian and like tarot cards. You want to bet? I'm one. Yep. So who are you to say we're creating this? I'm taking the power back. You didn't make the rules. You didn't invite me to this club. This ain't your club. Like, how can you kick me out? You didn't invite me. You didn't ordain me. I'm letting people know that, like, I mean, there's like a resurgence for psychedelics and for the shamanic path, and a lot of that's in the Bible. Like, as far as like God calling us back to the ancient paths. Remember the ancient way. Seek ye out the ancient path and go to it, for there you'll find rest for your soul. That's truth. We're in a technological age that we can get caught up. All of this stuff. Seek ye out the ancient path, man. Look, this is biblical, bro. Like, and let people know that you can still have your foundation. You can still love Jesus or whatever and have a biblical narrative. For me, all of that stuff's in the Bible. So I try, and I honestly try to use the Bible as a plumb line. Like, it's my narrative. I grew up, I know it like the back of my hand. But I know that there's so much in there that not a lot of people are talking about. So we can talk about having these encounters of ghosts or spirits or angels or UFOs or whatever the case is, and still love Jesus and still follow Christ or still go to church. Many people still go to church. I don't go to church. The power in that, and I try to tell people, is like the church realm. They try to tell you that you're not a part of the church if you don't go to a church. Well, then scripturally, like Jesus said that you are the temple of God, for the Holy Spirit dwells within you, that God dwelleth not in temples made with hands, but you are the temple of the Holy Spirit. Tell us that when he says to look within to experience the kingdom of heaven, that I don't need nothing they're selling me. I don't need to go anywhere. I don't need a high priest. I already have one, which is Christ, who ripped that veil so that we can commune directly with the King. We can go, anytime we want. We can meditate. We can go within. We can sit in silence and sit in peace, put on some good music. Whatever that is for you, you go in and you can commune with the Creator. That's powerful, man. You don't need nothing they're selling you.
I agree 100%, man. And that's it. It's just finding that power for yourself first is very important. As a psychic, when I do readings, a lot of it is just validating what they're already thinking. So I try to explain to them, that's because, I'm telling you this because these are messages you're already getting. This is from your higher self, from your higher spirit, from your, your source. So your individual source. And I'm reading kind of your signatures and reading your little messages coming from you. And, your spirit guides or whatever, angels, whatever you want to call them. I think it's both. But basically, just being confident and knowing these messages that come through to you, you can really, start writing them down. If you get these weird messages about something or something comes up randomly, write it down and then see if it happens. It usually does. Message about something, or you're getting told, listen to yourself. Yeah. Listen to that intuition. That's most important before anything.
Right.
Yeah, I think we're all connected more than we know. And, people are sensitive. They've been sensitive ever since they were children, seeing those visions. Yeah, that's what it's about, man. The scriptures, only, if God is for you, who can be against you? Like, that's the scripture. That's good. Like, that's empowering. You know what I'm saying? If God has spoken to my heart and my spirit, who can be against me? Who can tell me no?
Yep.
So can you still hear me? I lost my feed for my camera.
I can hear you. Can't see you, but I can hear you.
Yeah, I'm having a problem with my feed with my camera, but let's try to get to. Can anybody else? Can you guys hear me out in the audience or in the live feed? Can you hear us?
I hope so.
I hope so too. Got a lot of people commenting. This is awesome.
Yeah. They say your video went out, but no, we can hear you.
Okay, as long as you can hear us, then that's good. We can do it and finish up with that with the way it is because technology.
They can hear.
Good. Okay. So let's see if we can get to a couple of questions and then we can let you go because I know you're a busy man as well. Let's see here.
That one I thought here.
The Bible, many. Okay, I'm gonna put this one up. There's mostly just statements. That's good.
Yeah, it is. It really is
testify.
Good. Yes, it's awesome.
You got some critical thinkers up in here. So Linda Winger says, the Bible, many stories and parables not understood. I heard the Garden of Eden is earth. Well, I feel like, and I want to, I've kind of had that on my mind. I'm like, everybody's looking for a paradise, but that paradise is right out your door.
Right.
There's paradise right here. You just have to notice it. It's all over. What do you think?
Yeah, man, that's a heck of a way of looking at it. I'm not closed off to anything. I wasn't there. You know what I'm saying? And so for people to feel like they say this is what it was and this is exactly it, it definitely could have been. It could have been like some planets, I've been into a lot of theories. I know a lot of different ways to break down the Garden of Eden and creation, and I've heard everybody's story. So, and a lot of them make sense, and we would be foolish to say that they didn't. You know what I'm saying? That there was only this is it, and this is what it was, or whatever the case is. But yeah, that definitely could have been it. I can see that narrative playing.
I would say,
through.
Linda, look up the inner Earth.
Yeah,
that's a cool little story. It's a cool theory.
And one of my theory is there's many planes and many dimensions, and so on all of them are correct somewhere.
That's true.
Everything you believe is correct somewhere, right? Even if it's correct for you. Even if it fits into your narrative, your story, you create it, you believe it, you live life according to that philosophy or theology, man, and it's real to you. Yep. Whatever that is. Yep. That's why it's healthy to think about good stuff instead of entertaining the world's coming to an end. Oh, 2012, we got to move. We got to get out of here. All of these narratives, you can entertain that stuff and it becomes real. It becomes your truth to you in your spirit, your heart of hearts. You think that this stuff is real and it's happening. So just like if we believe that God loves everybody, that everybody's going to receive healing, that everybody's waking up, everybody is loved. That's our reality. We create it. We walk in it. We bless people and it happens. We create it as we speak it.
Yep. That's right.
All right, I got to figure out what this passage means because I don't know.
That's my boy, Brett. Brett's deep, man.
That's deep. That is really deep. Okay. All right, break it down for me, brother.
Man, so Brett's deep on that Hebrew, and so that's Jeremiah 18, Yeremiah, but I don't know all these words because my people have forgotten me. They have burned the kiru. See, I don't know that word. Like that's the thing about going back to the Hebrew and stuff. Like if you give us the English breakdown, give us the English word, it would be a lot easier for everybody to understand who aren't that studied. To worthless idols, and they have caused them to stumble in there. See you know what I'm saying? The Drakim. Nobody knows. That's not the word that's used there in the English. From the ancient paths to walk to the bypaths and not be. See, it's too much Hebrew, man. Like I like to break down the meanings of the Hebrew, but when you actually use the Hebrew word, I think it could be a stumbling block for many people because I don't speak Hebrew, not fluent like that. So, but I don't.
I mean, I'm picking up my own little idea for it. I mean, you've burned basically your critical thought for worthless idols. You're watching other people and droning all over them as opposed to just really taking that lesson and living your own authenticity.
She is of Jewish heritage.
Which will cause you to kind of stumble in your own bullshit, which I don't think that word has probably anything close to that. But,
okay.
You know what I mean?
Well, that first word that you used is actually incense. I just looked it up. You will burn incense to worthless idols.
Incense. See, there you go.
You could have easily used that word, Brett. Change it out for us, bro. I know what incense is. I don't know what K-Road is.
That's blowing my mind right now. Let's see here.
I was talking about burning incense and stuff to gods that don't communicate back with you. That like you're creating your tulpas, you're creating your own gods or whatever. You're forming a god within your own image. You know what I'm saying? And worshiping that. And that's idolatry, and that's what it comes back to. Like you're bowing down to things that don't exist, or you're serving things that don't serve you. Would be an easy way to put it.
Yep.
Let's see here. Atlantis Rising. Okay, let's see. Have you heard yet? Any of you? Not quite sure.
Not sure what that question means. Yeah.
Well, he's posted another comment and says we live on the land stolen from the native Indians. I'm a Indian, so.
Okay. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, unfortunately, it is very true.
I'm a quarter black, so I know how that is. My ancestors got stolen from their own country and brought to this country. So, but I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful. Part of my ancestors. The other part was the ones that were taking them.
Yeah.
So
I'm a Heinz 57 of a bunch of.
Yeah, I'm just I'm a mixed breed.
Me too. My dad was
Scottish, German Jew. Yeah.
Yeah, we live on land stolen from the native Indians. Wait.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, stolen from the native Indians. That's true. Yeah, let's see here. You said idols, also ancient paths. This might help. Oh, Brett.
He gonna blow your mind on some Hebrew, man. I'm telling you.
He's already blowing my mind, Brett. Come on, man. This is like a longer conversation you get into. Like it.
It's awesome.
He was in the school of the mystics, man. Shout out to everybody who was over there with us, holding us down.
That's awesome.
Yeah, shout out.
Yes.
Keep it up, man. This stuff, that's fun. And we do a lot of it. We haven't done a lot lately, but we need to. We went to Atlantis. We went to, where else did we go? The Sphinx. That ended up taking us to heaven realm, dude. To heaven. We went through the Sphinx. We went through a door, and we ended up, dude, this sounds crazy, on a flat earth kind of construct in heaven, which is another realm above us. So what some people would call it fourth dimension, right?
Yeah.
That's what we saw. I mean, it was kind of like, we were started to see the same things. We were kind of all just kind of visiting this same place, and we ended up seeing angels. And yeah, it got really crazy, man. We had to back off for a little while because it got really intense. Yeah. I mean, just the stuff we were seeing was like, whoa, okay, it's a little too much. But what was cool about it is I did see, people make fun of that. Oh, yeah, there's not going to be some god in the sky, but that's kind of how I saw it. Like from that realm, I looked up, or was told to look up, and I saw a bearded man in an old robe, kind of, like the old garb, and a
Zeus.
woman. And a woman, dude. Yeah, dude, I seriously. Gods, dude. I've seen a lot of that too. And it all started to kind of correlate to me. And I still a lot of it hasn't been validated, but I did see a lot of crazy stuff, man.
There's crazy stuff out there, bro.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Crazy stuff in those realms.
Well, thanks, brother. We can, I think it looks like we got all the questions, didn't we? The statements on my grandma's Indian. Have some eagle brain and get back to me. Okay, whatever that meant. Eagle brain, huh? Let's see here. All right, well, yeah, looks like we don't have any more questions, so thank you for being on.
Oh, man.
I can't wait to be on your show, brother. I'm privileged. I feel privileged that I finally did quit dissing you. I had no idea that I was ignoring you for so long. I'm sorry about that. And thank you all for being here.
Thank you all so much. We are deeply
check
grateful.
out TruthSeekah on YouTube. He's all over YouTube. You do Facebook? You're mostly on YouTube, right?
I mean, I'm on everything, man. We try to take advantage of it all, Okay,
cool.
Facebook. You go to my website. Everything's on there. TruthSeekah.com. TruthSeekah.
Yeah, you restream too. Huh? You use the restream, so you're all over.
I did use it for some time, but I quit using it. I just went straight to YouTube. Yeah. I did use Restream though. Yep, definitely.
All right, brother. Well, thank you. Yeah, I'd love having you, man. I'd love to have you back soon too. So, you have a great night, and we'll talk to you soon. I'm sure I'll be in there on your comments during your next show. I'm sure. I'm digging them, man. I'm watching all of them.
You guys enjoy your night. Thank you so much. God bless everybody watching. You guys.
Shalom. God bless you all. Thank you for being here.